Time is not always as steady as we believe. In the shadows of the Cairngorm forest, one boy uncovered runes, legends, and secrets that had been waiting for generations. His name is Josh Tin. What began as a simple discovery of strange stones soon became a fight against time itself. Each journal entry pulls us deeper into vanishings, fractured moments, and an ancient family legend bound to the balance of reality. Across 4 chilling chapters, Josh faces the thinning, the unravelling of time, and the truth of who he really is. Tonight, you'll witness the full saga, from the first strange scratch on the window to the final revelation of his family's hidden role as guardians of the stone. This is The Adventures of Josh Tin, the complete story. Josh Tin is an adventurous 16-year-old whose family recently relocated to a small village on the edge of Scotland's ancient Cairngorm forest. While exploring local forums about his new home, Josh stumbled upon a pattern of posts spanning decades, all describing hikers and campers who ventured into a specific section of the woods, never to return. The following is read from his journal, recounting his meticulous search for the truth and his unwavering thirst for adventure, and his love for hand-knitted jumpers. Who knows where this will lead him in the future? I shouldn't be writing this. My hands are still shaking so badly I can barely hold the pen. And I keep looking over my shoulder at my bedroom window. The branches of the old pine outside keep scratching against the glass. And each time, I swear they're trying to spell something. But I need to get this down while it's fresh. While I can still convince myself I'm not going mad. I found them today, just before sunset. The runes. Jeez, the runes. I'd been following another dead end from those newspaper clippings. You know, the ones about Martin Fletcher's disappearance in '87. The article mentioned he'd last been seen heading toward the Stone Circle clearing, but no one in town seemed to know what that meant. 3 hours of trudging through wet leaves and mud, and I was ready to call it quits. That's when my phone died. Not just died, it went crazy first. The screen started flickering, showing strings of numbers that didn't make sense. 333, 333, 333, over and over, even though it was nearly 5 PM. Then, nothing. I turned back, or I thought I did, but the trees, they all looked wrong, older. The moss grew in patterns I'd never seen before, spiralling up the trunks in perfect geometrical shapes. That's when I saw the first stone. It was small, maybe the size of my palm, half buried in the earth. The marking on it looked like a sideways figure 8 with a line through it. Simple, really. Except it was glowing. Not reflecting light, actually glowing, with this soft blue-green luminescence that seemed to pulse in time with my heartbeat. I found 6 more after that, each with different symbols, forming a rough circle about 20 feet across. The last one was warm to touch, and when my fingers brushed against it, I heard something. Not with my ears, but inside my head. A voice, ancient, and cold as the earth itself. Speaking words I couldn't understand, but somehow knew were important. I took photos, or I tried to. Every time I pull up my camera roll, the images are just black squares with weird pixelated edges. But I made sketches as soon as I got home. They're on the next page. Though, looking at them now, they don't seem quite right. The symbols keep shifting when I'm not focusing directly on them. Mum asked why I was late for dinner. I told her I lost track of time at the library. She smiled and said she was glad that I was taking an interest in local history. If only she knew. The weirdest part, when I was leaving the clearing, I swear I saw fresh footprints in the mud, leading away from the stones. They looked old-fashioned, like someone wearing boots from another century. And they started in the middle of the circle, as if whoever made them had just appeared there. It's almost midnight now. The runes in my sketchbook, are they getting brighter? I need to go back tomorrow. I know I shouldn't, but I need to. Something's happening in those woods. Something big. And I think it's been waiting for someone to find those stones. For someone to find me. Josh. Can't sleep. Keep seeing those symbols when I close my eyes. But I think I'm starting to piece something together. So I need to write it down before I lose it. After I found the runes yesterday, I spent hours online looking up Celtic symbols. Nothing matched exactly. But I found something interesting. A thread on an old archaeology forum about similar markings found in caves near Kingussy, just 30 miles from here. The post was from 2012, but the weird thing, when I tried to reply to it, the whole thread vanished, just gone, like it never existed. So I started digging deeper into the local disappearances. 1987, Martin Fletcher, mentioned earlier, disappeared October 21st. 1995, Sarah McPherson, disappeared October 22nd. 2003, David and Jenny Hughes, disappeared October 20th. 2011, Callum Robertson, disappeared October 23rd. 2019, Maya Chen, disappeared October 21st. See the pattern? They all vanish within days of each other, just different years. And get this, I checked the lunar calendar. Every single disappearance happened during the third quarter moon, just like now. But here's what really got me. In my dad's study, I found this old book he bought at an estate sale. Highland Myths and Legends of the Northeast. There's a chapter about something called the Fadeways. Places where the boundary between our world and something else gets thin. The book mentions markers, ancient stones that breathe with their own light during certain lunar phases. The author, Duncan MacLeod, wrote about interviewing an old woman in 1962 who claimed her grandmother knew of 7 stones that formed a door between times. She said they only woke up every 8 years. And when they did, people would go missing. But here's the creepy part. She says sometimes people would come back. Years later, not aged a day. I checked the dates again. 8 years between each disappearance, almost exactly. Which means, God, the next window would be this year, this month, this week. I've mapped out all the locations where people were last seen. If I overlay them where I found the runes, they form a pattern. Like a 7-pointed star, but there's something wrong with the map now. The distances don't add up. Places that should be miles apart seem to be shifting closer together. I need to go back to those stones, but I need to be smart about this. I've packed my backpack with supplies. Dad's old compass. Phones aren't reliable out there. A proper camera with fresh batteries. Chalk for marking trees. Learned that from those missing persons reports. Granola bars and water. UV flashlight. The symbols seem to react to different light sources. Voice recorder. Analog, not digital. The book about Highland myths. An extra warm jumper. And this journal. Tomorrow after school I'm going back. But this time, I'm going prepared. I've told Mum I'm studying at the library. She'll expect me home by 6. That gives me 3 hours. 3. That number again. I keep thinking about what that voice in my head said when I touched the rune. It's like when you have a word on the tip of your tongue, but 100 times more frustrating. The meaning is right there, just out of reach. Wait, the branches outside my window just stopped moving. Completely. Even though the wind's still blowing. And there's something else. When I look at my sketches of the runes now, I can see something I missed before. Tiny marks, like smaller symbols inside the bigger ones. They almost look like, oh my god, they're dates. They're the exact dates when everyone went missing. And there's one more date. October 21st, 2024. That's 5 days from now. Josh. P.S. Just heard something tapping on my window. 3 times. Slow. Deliberate. When I looked, there was nothing there. But on the glass, frost, in the shape of one of the runes. Thank you for joining me for the first instalment of Josh Tinn's Adventures. The next episode will be out soon, so be sure to keep a lookout. You wouldn't want to miss out on the adventure. I'm SamHain, wishing you all sweet dreams. See you on the next one. Josh Tinn is an adventurous 16-year-old whose family recently relocated to a small village on the edge of Scotland's ancient Cairngorm forest. While exploring local forums about his new home, Josh stumbled upon a pattern of posts spanning decades, all describing hikers and campers who ventured into a specific section of the woods, never to return. The following is read from his journal, recounting his meticulous search for the truth and his unwavering thirst for adventure, and his love for hand-knitted jumpers. Who knows where this will lead him in the future? I'm writing this from under my covers with a flashlight, like some little kid afraid of the dark. Except, I've a damn good reason to be afraid. Today changed everything. I know what the runes are now. I almost wish I didn't. After school, I went back to the stones. But first, I stopped to the library to look up Duncan MacLeod. The librarian, Mrs. Campbell, got this strange look when I mentioned his name. Turns out he wasn't just some author. He was a local historian who lived here in the 60s. And here's the kicker. He disappeared in 1963, right after his book was published. The official story was that he moved away, but Mrs. Campbell, who knew his daughter, says all his things were left in his house, including his research. But that's not even the weird part. She brought out this old box of his papers from the archive room. Most of it was water damaged. But there was this leather-bound journal, wrapped in wax paper. The pages were filled with drawings, the exact same runes I found. But MacLeod had translations. They're not Celtic. They're not even human. According to MacLeod's notes, these symbols appear in various forms across multiple cultures, always in remote places, always in sets of 7. He found the references to them in Native American pictographs, Siberian cave paintings, and Aboriginal Australian rock art. Always the same warning. The doors swing both ways. I copied some of his translations. The first, the figure of 8 with the line between. The second, the spiral with 3 dots, witness. The third, the broken circle, passage. The fourth, the one that looks like a tree, binding. The fifth and the sixth were too smudged to read. The seventh, that's the one that was warm to touch, hunter. But here's what makes my skin crawl. The cloud wrote that the symbols aren't actually writing. They're more like locks or keys. Each one is part of some kind of mechanism. And they don't just glow. They're counting down to something. I went back to the clearing today to check. The first rune's light noticeably dimmer now. Like it's fading. But the seventh one, the hunter rune, it's getting brighter. Pulsing faster. I tried to document everything properly this time. 3:15 PM. Arrived at the clearing. Temperature dropped 15 degrees the moment I stepped inside the stone circle. 3:33 PM. There's that number again. Compass started spinning wildly. 4:07 PM. Tried to record the pulsing light pattern. Analog recorder picked up something in the background. When I played it back, it sounded like whispering in some language I've never heard. 4:45 PM. Made rubbings of each stone. The symbols seemed to shift under the paper, but I got most of them. 5:10 PM. Something moved in the trees. Not the wind, not an animal. Whatever it was big, and it was watching me. I ran after that. Didn't stop until I reached the main road. But I learned something crucial from McLeod's journal. The reason these disappearances happen every 8 years is because that's how long it takes for the stars to align exactly right. He called it the thinning, when our world and something else brush up against each other. There was one last note, written in shaky handwriting on the final page of his journal. The stones are not a warning. They are an invitation. But not for us. We're not the ones doing the hunting. The rubbings are tucked inside the journal. I can't look at them for too long. They make my eyes hurt. But I swear they're different every time I check. Like they're rearranging themselves. 4 days until October 21st. The frost is back on my window. And this time, it's on the inside. Josh. Something's wrong with time. I only meant to be in the woods for an hour today. Just a quick check on the runes after school. I had my phone timer set and everything. Mum expected me home by 4:30 for my dentist appointment. I entered the forest at 3:15 PM. Spent what was like maybe 45 minutes following the marked trail to the stones. When I finally stumbled out onto Blackwood Road, it was 11:47 PM. 8 hours? Gone. Just gone. My phone's completely fried now. The screen keeps showing different times, jumping between numbers that don't make sense. 3:33, 15:87, 25:01. Numbers that don't exist. I'm writing this from Miller's 24-hour cafe because I can't face going home yet. Mum's called the police. I've 47 missed calls on my backup phone. How do I explain this? How do I tell them that time literally slipped through my fingers? But I need to record what I remember, even though it feels like trying to hold on to a dream. The runes were definitely brighter today. They've started humming, a deep, low sound you feel in your bones more than you hear. As I was making notes, the shadows around the stones began moving wrong. They stretched in directions that didn't match the sun. Some of them moved against it. I checked my phone. 3:47 PM. I blinked. The sun had shifted position completely. Checked again. 6:22 PM. Blinked. Darkness. Stars overhead. But they were all wrong. Constellations I've never seen before. Phone showed 9:15 PM. The really messed up part? I swear some of this happened in reverse. Like watching a video flip back and forth, but with time itself. I saw the leaves unfall from trees, then fall again, over and over. A bird flew backwards through the clearing at least 3 times. During one of the forward moments, I saw something else. A girl, maybe my age, wearing clothes that looked like they were from the 90s. She was just standing there, staring at the stones. When she turned, I recognised her face from the newspaper clip. Sarah McPherson, the girl who disappeared in 1995. She looked right at me and said, "It's faster on the other side." Then, she was gone. I ran, or I tried to. Every time I thought I was getting closer to the forest's edge, the trees would shift, and I'd find myself back at those damn stones. The runes were pulsing faster now, like a heartbeat getting ready to burst. Finally made it out when I followed the moss patterns I'd noticed before. They really do point the way, but only if you look at them in mirrors. Thank God I had my compass's mirror backing. The cafe's clock jumped back 10 minutes. Tea in my cup is aging and getting fresh again as I watch. 3 days until the 21st. I don't think time is just broken in the forest anymore. I think it's breaking everywhere. Josh. P.S. Just noticed something. The receipt from my tea shows I ordered it tomorrow. Josh Tin is an adventurous 16-year-old whose family recently relocated to a small village on the edge of Scotland's ancient Cairngorm forest. While exploring local forums about his new home, Josh stumbled upon a pattern of posts spanning decades, all describing hikers and campers who ventured into a specific section of the woods, never to return. The following is read from his journal, recounting his meticulous search for the truth and his unwavering thirst for adventure, and his love for hand-knitted jumpers. Who knows where this will lead him in the future. 4:15 a.m. Woke up in my bed. Don't remember getting here from the cafe. Mum says I came home at 8:30 p.m. yesterday, apologising about losing track of time. That never happened. 9:22 a.m. At school now, but I've lived through the first period 3 times already. Each time it's slightly different. In the last version, Mr. Peterson wore a blue tie instead of red, and Sarah McPherson was sitting in the back of the class. When I turned round again, she was gone. 12:47 p.m. It's happening everywhere now. Watched Tommy Chen drop his lunch tray in the cafeteria. Except he dropped it upwards, the milk unspilling back into his carton, the plate reassembling in mid-air. Nobody else seemed to notice. 3:33 p.m. Of course, it would be this time. I'm back in the forest. Didn't mean to come here. Was walking home and the streets just shifted. The runes are singing now. Not humming, actually singing, in voices that sound like breaking glass and old wind. 5:55 p.m. Found MacLeod's daughter. Or she found me. Eleanor MacLeod, aged 73, but looking exactly like her photo from 1963. She's been experiencing the time slips too. Says her father didn't disappear. He's still here. Just scattered across different moments. She sees him sometimes, writing in his journal over and over and over. 7:77 p.m. That's what the clock actually shows. Impossible numbers for impossible times. Eleanor explains something crucial. The stones aren't causing the time distortions. They're trying to contain them. They're like support beams holding up reality, but they're failing. That's why people disappear every 8 years. They fall through the cracks. 9:99 p.m. We're losing coherent time. Eleanor just aged backwards through our conversation. She's a teenager now, younger than me, still talking about her father in the present tense. Unknown time. The streetlights are blinking in Morse code, over and over. Hunter comes, hunter comes, hunter comes. Time signatures are bleeding together. I'm writing this sentence before I started this entry. Josh. I'm experiencing multiple versions of today simultaneously. They're all happening at once, layered over each other like transparent pages in a book. I'll try to record them all. Version 1. Woke up on October 19th. Found all the clocks in the house showing different centuries. Mum made breakfast from eggs that uncooked themselves. The mail arrived with postmarks from 2025. Version 2. Woke up on October 21st. The stones have moved, forming a new pattern. Sarah McPherson is in my kitchen, making toast, talking about how she just went camping. My phone keeps showing calls from myself. Version 3. It's still October 20th. Everything seems normal, except people's shadows are moving 3 seconds before they do. Found Eleanor MacLeod's teenage self in the library, reading her father's book before he wrote it. The runes have started appearing everywhere, in frost patterns, in spilled coffee, in the way the leaves fall. Think I understand now. Time isn't broken, it's unravelling. The 8-year cycle, the disappearances, the hunter, they're all connected to whatever's coming tomorrow, or yesterday, or right now. Eleanor, aged 15, 45, and 73 simultaneously, showed me her father's final notes, written across multiple decades at once. The stones aren't just containing time distortions, they're containing something else, something that lives in the spaces between moments. And it's getting out. My watch just ticked backwards so hard it cracked the glass. The minute hand is spinning free now, whirling through time like a compass near a magnet. The hunter doesn't hunt in our time, it hunts through time. One day until October 21st. Or maybe it's already happening. Or maybe it happened long ago. All I know is that Sarah McPherson is still making toast in my kitchen. The runes are burning through the pages of this journal. And somewhere in the forest, 7 stones are counting down to a moment that exists every time at once. And that's episode 3 of The Adventures of George Tin. Time is unravelling, reality is fracturing, and somewhere in the spaces between moments, the hunter is coming. Will Josh and Eleanor find a way to stop whatever's breaking through? What happens when every moment crashes into a single point? And why is Sarah McPherson still making toast? And for those of you who are curious about these things, Josh's favourite blue jumper got ruined by those mysterious symbols back in episode 2. Don't worry though, his mum knitted him a new one. Though, with time acting this weird, who knows? Maybe he'll end up with his old one again, good as new. Or maybe he'll have always had both. Time paradoxes are funny that way. Find out in the 4th and final episode, when time runs out, where past, present, and future collide in ways that will change everything. Or maybe already have. Don't forget to like and subscribe to catch the finale. Or maybe you already have. Or maybe you will. Time's kind of funny that way lately. See you next time, whenever that is. Found something in Dad's study. I shouldn't have been in there, but time's still broken and I keep slipping through moments. And in one of them, I saw him hiding a box in the false bottom of his desk drawer. Took me 6 temporal shifts to figure out how to open it. Inside was another journal, Dad's journal. But not just his. It's been passed down, father to child, for generations. The first entry is dated 1879, written by Thomas Tin, my great-great-great-grandfather. He helped build the railway through these woods. He was there when they found something beneath the earth while digging the foundations. Not the freshwater spring everyone talks about. They found the first stone. Entries jump through time, each Tin family member adding their piece. 1879, Thomas, the stone speaks in dreams. 1903, William, it shows us when it needs to be found. 1947, James, the number follows us all. 3 hours, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. 1988, Robert, Dad's dad. We are the watchers between watches. And then Dad's entries. God, Dad's entries. He's known everything, all along. He moved us here on purpose because it was his time. Just like it had been his father's time in 87 when Martin Fletcher disappeared. Each generation of our family, watching, waiting, documenting. We're not just observers, we're guardians. The journal explains what 333 means. It's not just a time, it's a key. 3 threes, past, present and future. When they align, the door can open. But it needs something else. It needs the lights in the house just went out. Dad's standing in my doorway. It's time, he says. Josh. Writing this as it happens. Dad's driving us to the Stones. He's explaining everything. Our family name isn't really Tin. It's shortened from Tinaskia. Scottish Gaelic means the house of the shield or protector. It was changed to keep us hidden from forces of harm until we are needed. We were chosen centuries ago to maintain the balance. The stones aren't a trap. They're a doorway that needs to be opened at specific times to prevent reality from shattering. All those disappearances, they were necessary. Sacrifices to keep the door from breaking open completely. Each person chosen by the stones themselves, drawn into the woods by dreams and whispers. But something went wrong in 1987. Martin Fletcher fought back. The cycle was disrupted. Now the hunter's coming through whether we're ready or not. The time distortions are just the beginning. If we don't complete the ritual properly this time, the door will shatter. Past, present and future will collapse. Dad says I've been preparing for this my whole life without even knowing it. Those camping trips where he taught me how to navigate by stars that shouldn't exist. The bedtime stories about doors in the woods. The Celtic language lessons Mum insisted on. The journal entries I've been writing. They're part of the ritual. Every tin writes their experience, adds their power to the circle. We're not just documenting the event, we're writing it into reality. Oh God, we're here. The stones are floating. Dad's handed me his journal. Your turn, he says. Write what happens next. Make it real. The hunter is here. Josh. Time has stopped, literally. The world is frozen between seconds. The hunter isn't what we thought. It's not hunting us. It's hunting time itself. You can see it now. Through the doorway the stones have opened. It's beautiful and terrible. A being that exists in all moments at once, keeping reality from tearing itself apart. Those people who disappeared, they weren't sacrifices. They were chosen to help maintain the balance. Each one now exists as an anchor point in time, holding the fabric of reality together. Sarah McPherson waves to me from 1995. Martin Fletcher nods from 1987. Eleanor MacLeod stands with her father, both young and old at the same time. They're all here, in this moment between moments. Dad showed me what to do. The journals, all of them, from every generation of our family. They're not just records. They're threads in a tapestry that binds time together. Each word we write helps weave the pattern that keeps reality stable. I understand now why it had to be me. Why I had to find the stones. Why I had to write everything down. My words, my experiences. They're creating a new anchor point, a new thread in the pattern. The hunter reaches for my journal. Its touch leaves frost on the pages, but not like before. This frost forms words in every language that ever was or will be, all saying the same thing. The door swings both ways, right the way home. So I am. These words, right now, are creating the path back to normal time, back to a world that makes sense. But I'll remember. We all will. The Scare, the chosen ones, the guardians of the door. The hunter shows me one last truth. 333 isn't just a time. It's a promise. 3 threes, infinite possibilities, all held in balance by those who watch and write and remember. Time's starting again. The stones settle back into their circle, dormant until they're needed again. Dad's smiling. He knows I understand now. I am Josh Tyn. Josh Tynaskea, keeper of the door, guardian of the space between seconds, writer of realities. And somewhere, somehow, another person will find these words and know. The hunter isn't something to fear, it's something to help. Because without it, without us, the time would unravel completely. The sun is rising, the door is closing, but I'll be ready when it needs to open again. After all, it's in my blood. Josh Tynaskea, keeper of the third watch, October 21st, 2024, 3:34 AM. Final note, the frost on these pages will fade, but the words remain. To the next finder of the stones, look for us at 3:33. We'll be watching, we'll be waiting, we'll be writing. The local papers never reported what happened in Blackwood Forest on October 21st. How could they? To the rest of the world it was just another autumn night. The stars wheeled overhead, the wind rustled through dying leaves, and time marched forward as it always had. But for those who know where to look, the signs are everywhere. Frost patterns that form perfect figure eights on winter windows. Shadows that sometimes move 3 seconds too slow. The way certain clocks in certain places tick backward just before 3:33 AM. Josh Tyn returned to school the following Monday. His classmates noticed something different about him. A certain watchfulness in his eyes. The way he sometimes stared at his watch as if reading messages in its rhythmic movements. His father started teaching him old Gaelic phrases in the evenings. and his mother pretended not to notice when he slipped out of the house some nights to check on 7 ordinary-looking stones in the forest. The disappearances stopped. Sarah McPherson, Martin Fletcher, and the others remain where they've always been, scattered across time like anchors holding reality together. Sometimes, in the space between moments, they meet to maintain their eternal vigil, guided by an entity that moves through time itself. But the hunter wasn't the only thing lurking in the spaces between seconds. In his new journal, bound in leather that seems to absorb shadows, Josh has begun recording strange occurrences in the woods, the way certain trees cast moonlight upward instead of down, the footprints that appear in fresh snow walking in impossible directions, the whispers that sound like tomorrow speaking to yesterday. The Tin family, the Tyne Ashkea, continues their watch, as they have for generations, and somewhere in the darkness, between 333 and 334, in a place where time folds in on itself, like pages of an infinite book, something stirs, something that knows the door swings both ways, and that some stories are just the beginning, even as others end. After all, time isn't just a straight line. Sometimes it's a circle, and circles, as Josh Tin is learning, have no end. And so, the circle closes. For now. Josh Tin has uncovered his family's legacy, faced the hunter, and learned that time itself is a fragile thread, guarded by those chosen to keep it from unravelling. The vanishings have ceased, the stones lie dormant, and the balance has been restored. But as the Tin family knows, time is never truly safe. Between 333 and 334, in the space where seconds falter, other forces wait, watching, whispering. Tonight, you've witnessed the complete tales of Josh Tin, but some doors never stay shut forever. And when the stones awaken again, perhaps a new story will be waiting, one that has already begun. Remember, the door swings both ways. Be careful what you follow into the dark.